Recorded Books and One Click Digital present The Outlandish Companion, Volume 2. The second companion to the Outlander series, covering The Fiery Cross, A Breath of Snow and Ashes, An Echo in the Bone, and Written in My Own Heart's Blood, by Diana Gabaldon. Narrated by Diana Gabaldon, Davina Porter, Pilar Witherspoon, and Jeff Woodman.
Introduction. And what a long, strange trip it's been. On March 6th, 1988, I began writing what turned out to be Outlander. I know this because my file names all include the date on which each was begun, and Jamie.36 is the oldest file I have. Footnote 1. No, that scene never ended up in the book. It wasn't even a complete scene. Not surprising, as the only thing I knew about the book at that point was that it involved a Scotsman in a kilt. Only a half page or so in which Jamie, I did know his first name at least, was having an argument with his sister, nameless at that point, who was chopping vegetables in a vehement manner. It was just my first experiment, bar Walt Disney comic books, which really don't work the same way, at putting fictional words on a page. It was nonetheless highly significant. At the conclusion of one paragraph, I just listed the ingredients of the dish Jamie's sister was making, and, by academic reflex, began to put in the empty square brackets in which the bibliographic citation, proving that those particular vegetables were indeed to be found in Scotland at that time in history and at that time of year, would be placed. Then I stopped, and with a sense of joyous freedom thought, I don't have to do that. It's fiction. Thus confirmed in my belief that I was indeed meant to be a novelist, I went happily on and never looked back. Resume text. In the summer of 1998, The Outlandish Companion was published. The publisher was exceedingly dubious about there being any market, let alone a need, for such a book, despite my insistence that the readers really did care enough about the world of Outlander that they would enjoy reading information about its creation, trivia about its characters and settings, and miscellaneous related bits and pieces about history, Scotland, Celtic culture, and even the bibliographic references that had gone into the writing of the first four novels, Outlander, Dragonfly in Ember, Voyager, and Drums of Autumn. In fact, I only succeeded in publishing that book because I refused to give them the Fiery Cross unless they let me have the companion too. But they did, tra-la, and all was sunshine and happiness. Though I will say that if you think it's difficult to describe Outlander in 25 words or less, just try explaining what a non-fiction book about a set of indescribable novels is. Footnote 2. Frankly, it's flat out impossible. I mean, try it. You can't exactly say it's historical fiction because of the time travel, though the historical aspects are in fact as accurate as history itself. Rather a large caveat, that. You can't say it's fantasy because people leap instantly to the conclusion that it has elves and dragons, the Loch Ness Monster being rather a poor substitute, if you ask me. You can't say it's science fiction, even though it is, strictly speaking, because people start thinking of time machines and War of the Worlds and TARDIS, none of which are at all appropriate. And you really can't call it a romance because a huge segment of the reading populace is disposed to think that most romance novels are illiterate bodice rippers. They aren't, of course, but that's a common prejudice, ignorant as it is. And in fact, the book really isn't a romance, as it breaks just about every genre constraint there is. This is what happens when you write a book that you don't expect anyone ever to read, let alone publish. When I started writing, I just used any element or literary device that appealed to me, and I have very eclectic tastes. Footnote 3. The interviews resulting from the book tour for the companion were especially bizarre. Resume text. Still, people enjoyed it, and that's all that really mattered. But I kept on writing novels. And after The Fiery Cross, people began asking if I meant to provide them with an insert or something, giving them the same sort of background and information that was available in the first four novels. This kind of ad hoc demand increased with each new book, and several years ago I began thinking of writing Volume 2 of this opus. I also realized that there were several bits of Volume 1 that could do with an update or revision. After all, the book has been out for 17 years now, and things, especially the internet, have changed. So I did both. I revised The Outlandish Companion, Volume 1, removing obsolete sections, revising the FAQ, and adding in 4 new essays and a brand new section about the Starz TV show, with photos kindly provided by Starz, and how that all came about. And I put together The Outlandish Companion, Volume 2, which is the book you now hold in your hands. Footnote 4. Now, I'm quite sure that you know that already, but the thing is, when the OC Volume 1 came out, there was quite a rash of indignant mail from readers who, in spite of my painstaking cover legend, which described exactly what the book was, had just grabbed it, ignoring cover, title, and flap copy, and then been incensed when it turned out not to be the next novel. I'm grateful for such enthusiasm, of course, but I do
Sample complete. Ready to continue?